Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Friday, the 17th of May 2024. So just to let you know before we get into the Market Alert, I will be missing in action next week. The old adage, sell in May and go away, well, it also saves on the divorce costs and proceedings as well. And I had a break for a while, so I will be missing for just the Monday to Friday of next week. It's a quiet week news-wise as well, so that's good timing to be away. Right, let's get into yesterday's action, and as you can see from the headline here, stocks pause after briefly touching historic 40,000. That was a given, as I mentioned in yesterday's alert, and also for the last few months. It might be time for a short-term breather. So yeah, I agree with that as well, actually, that the shorts probably take over for a bit and there'll be some profit taking coming into the markets now the CPI numbers are out of the way, the non-farm payrolls last week, etc. Bonds, we've got here bonds sold and stocks meander on day after CPI. Yep, that's classic as well. And this is an interesting one. 27,000 gold. What is the dollar price of gold in a system in which the dollars are freely exchangeable for gold at a fixed price? There's a lot of talk about this. Whether it will happen, I don't know, but never say never, because it happened just after the Second World War when gold was revalued. So it's not as if it's setting precedent here. That was set back in the 1930s when gold price was doubled from 15 to, well, more than double, 15 to 39, I think. And that was after the government had confiscated it from the people, taken claim to it, and then they say more than double the price. So you never know. Be the system failing, the dollar worth 2 cents now from 1971, from the removal of the gold standard, you just never know. So I thought I'd just throw that out there for anybody that's investing in the precious metals, just to see what could lie ahead. And I say could because I'm sure they'll continue to print paper until they can print no more. Economic news today, FOMC meeting, Waller speaking, or member speaking at 3:15. Right, let's have a look at the historic move then from the Dow and all of the other markets. So the Dow managed to break 40,000, 40,054 was the number, and we're already coming off a bit. There's some selling around yesterday as well, which is equivalent to and equal to the buying on the previous day. So it looks like we could see a bit of a move to the downside and some profit taking coming into this market. It's not uncommon. Just go back to that chart as well. You'll see the last attempt, and you can see how the market came down until we had the Iran and Israel attack there on the Friday, and then the market made its way back. But it needs a bit of a breather after all these months of moving higher from the October, actually, Santa rally. So there you go, you can see the market going through the 40,000 but then failing to hold, finding a bit of support at the moment down towards yesterday's low, but we'll see how much strength it's got as the markets open during the day. So in the German DAX, another new all-time high as well, 18,921. You can see the market coming off this also, and yesterday we've got selling, and also the day before we've got some supply coming into the market. So like yesterday where we saw the weakness, you could probably see more today, and we're actually already below the low of yesterday as well. S&P 500, the market continuing to move to the upside during yesterday as well. There you can see another all-time high for this market as well. Let's just draw that in, and that's at 5326.1. I'll just save that for future reference. And yeah, expect some more profit taking in this market as well. And there you can see moving up with the Dow and then capitulating and moving down. It's got to remain above yesterday's low in order to stay on the positive side. FT100 also now, after coming off its all-time high on Wednesday at 8,477.6. Yesterday, a bit of selling there as well, as you can see. And the day before we had some supply. And the market closing below, or trading below, the 5-bar moving average at the moment, so a bit of weakness there as well. FT 100 selling off immediately as the market opened. All the selling out the way, market was brought back, but then it was subject to the movements in the Dow, which you can see there. US dollar starting to move back to the upside after Wednesday's CPI numbers. A bit of a bounce there. Is it a dead cat bounce? Does the market then continue lower? Or do we see a rally into the dollar to move prices back to the upside and then put downside pressure on the metals? Speaking of which, let's have a look at those. An interesting picture is developing overnight. And that picture is in the silver market. You can see prices desperate to get above the resistance we've got to the left, $29.78. And if you look at the 30-minute chart, prices sideways. The usual slam there yesterday, but managing to recover from that. Meanwhile, in the gold market, nowhere near its all-time high at the moment. So that means in the gold-silver ratio, which we'll look at in just a moment, is favouring silver at the moment. And there's the gold pullback yesterday and then starting to move back overnight as well. So let's have a look at the gold-silver ratio. And again, I've made this into a weekly chart, and you can see we're at a crucial level now for the gold-silver ratio. It's important in the market. If you want the price of silver to move higher, you want to see this break to the downside and break out of this. It's been a long time in this sideways move, all the way back to March of last year. Let's just have a look at a monthly chart out of curiosity, and you can see there how sideways the gold-silver ratio has been. And this low here, this takes us back to 75.08, and that was in December 2022 during the COVID pandemic. This was a great opportunity to buy silver, and I absolutely loaded up when others were worried about a cough and a sneeze. This was just a gift from the gods. This was we saw the gold-silver ratio go up to 126 1 ounce coins of silver to 1 ounce of gold. It was just incredible, absolutely incredible. So not to be seen again for a while, I suspect. But you can see there for the last 3 months the gold-silver ratio dropping, as well as the price of silver has moved to the upside. Right, let's have a quick look at yesterday's market activity and what's happening overnight before we conclude. So in the pre-market session, prices drifted lower, and then of course after the cash market opened, the market held for a bit, very, very quiet to the point of watching paint dry. Again, as it said in the headlines, prices tend to meander following FOMC and CPI the next day, and then the market just drifting, then bouncing, then drifting. As you'll see there, drifting, bouncing, just stuck in a range. Then we had the economic news, so that's the weekly jobless claims, and then prices moving to the downside with the Dow. Broke the low, tried to come back above the low. It's interesting, isn't it, to see here that the DAX had no steam whatsoever, didn't even follow through with any momentum that was gained with the Dow going through the 40,000 at this point. So very lackluster performance. So that's indicating there's some weakness around at the moment, and stuck at the low, bouncing off the low, or trying to bounce off the low, and then breaking as the Dow sold off and people came in and took profits, and also sold into the fact that it had got to 40k. And overnight, let's just have a quick look. Market just springing above yesterday's low as a record, so trying to get back up there at the moment. Let's just squeeze the chart up a bit, see what we got above and below. And at the moment, obviously, we're below the DP. The DP, the daily pivot, is critical. The consensus is that if the market's below the DP, then you can expect lower prices. However, what I would argue here is that the market's desperate to get back above the low. It's still trading in these lofty levels, and it's in a strong bull market. So it wouldn't take a lot to actually favour the long side. But if it fails at the DP, then you could probably see a resumption of what you saw yesterday with the market coming down, as you can see there. Right, that's it for this one and for this week. I will see you a week on Monday, so have a great weekend, great week, and I will see you on my return. And as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.